Raymond turned the key in the ignition and started the engine on the multi-ton truck. Marvelous, the man thought to himself, smiling bitterly. If someone had told me that I, a doctor with years of experience, would one day become a truck driver, I would have thought that they were crazy and laughed at them. Sometimes life is so full of surprises that even the most talented of fiction writers would not be able to make up such a thing. The truck moved slowly, leaving behind a small wooden house, which was Raymond's most recent refuge. It seems that just yesterday, he had everything. A beautiful wife, a spacious apartment in the city center, a successful career as a promising young surgeon. And then one medical mistake, and everything disappeared like a mirage. Raymond failed to save the life of a young man. The patient arrived at the hospital with a stab wound and died on the operating table. Even though it was apparent that the patient would likely die, the young doctor still felt responsible for what happened. Even Raymond himself had trouble understanding what was behind his decision that night, whether it was the desire to help a victim or the need to get a little bit more praise for taking on an almost hopeless case. In short, Raymond took a risk and failed. Raymond's colleagues and the relatives of the deceased did not blame Raymond for what happened, but the young doctor could not forgive himself. The surgeon decided to quit his profession. Frankly, few of his friends and family understood his decision, including his wife Vanessa. When Vanessa realized that her husband's decision was final, she filed for divorce. "I married a promising man, not a simple gas station worker or taxi driver," she told Raymond angrily. Their separation was sudden and unexpected. Raymond had never anticipated such betrayal from Vanessa. This hurt him deeply and further unsettled him. Raymond gave up everything. He sold his apartment and moved to the north of the country, where he settled in one of its remote villages in the middle of the taiga. He got a job as a truck driver. Even though it was hard at first, he quickly got used to it. He spent almost all his time trying to get his thoughts in order and analyze his previous life. One fateful day, his truck moved slowly, mile by mile, along the road. Raymond watched the taiga unravel in front of him. When he suddenly realized how good and calm his wounded soul felt, he didn't even listen to music on that long journey. His peace was only occasionally disturbed by the sounds of a walkie-talkie, which connected him with other truck drivers. Suddenly, Raymond's silence and peace were interrupted by some forest dwellers. 3 bear cubs stopped the traffic. They suddenly ran out of the forest and stood right in front of the truck. Of course, Raymond could have kept driving, but that was not in his kind nature. He couldn't risk running over the animals and pressed the brakes of the giant truck. "Hey buddies, are you collecting payment?" Raymond asked, opening the window a little. Hearing a human voice, the cubs rushed towards him. "Wait a little, I'm sure I have something tasty for you." Raymond looked inside his bag and found some bread. He broke it in half and threw it to the little bears. The bears, however, paid no attention to the food that was offered to them. They continued to pace restlessly, shifting from paw to paw as if they couldn't wait to get out of there. Raymond watched this unusual behavior for several minutes, and then, probably without being fully aware of his own actions, opened the door of his truck and jumped out. It seemed that the cubs were waiting for exactly that. As soon as he came out of the truck, they rushed into the thicket. The smallest of the bears came back to Raymond as if telling him to hurry up. There was no doubt the bears were insisting that Raymond follow them. Very soon, the cubs led Raymond to a huge spruce tree, under which lay an adult bear. She was breathing heavily and wheezing with every breath she took. Raymond immediately noticed a wound in the animal's side. It seemed that someone aimed for her heart and missed. Instead, the bullet pierced her lungs. Damn it! The man could not restrain his emotions and clutched his head. "What can I do? How can I help you?" He rushed to inspect the animal's wound. He knew that the lungs would soon fill with blood, causing the bear to die of suffocation. Raymond took out his satellite phone, which had previously gotten him out of tricky situations in remote places. He called his hunter friend. "Hello, Damon? Can you hear me? Here's the thing. I urgently need your help. And make sure to bring a doctor. We will be performing surgery right here in the forest." Damon did not disappoint. Soon after they hung up, a pickup truck drove up to the scene. Out of the truck ran a young woman with a set of medical instruments. She ran up to the bear and spoke in a soft voice. "The wound is deep. The bear needs surgery, but I'm only a nurse." Seeing how worried she was, Raymond hastened to reassure her. "Don't worry, I'll do the surgery. You know us truckers, we're all great surgeons." He tried to make a joke. The young woman glanced at him in disbelief and smiled slightly. Raymond and Tiffany worked on the wounded bear for over an hour. Fortunately, the surgeon's magic hands and his timely assistance gave the beautiful animal a chance for a long and happy life. Throughout the surgery, the cubs watched the people carefully. They peered from behind the bushes that they thought made them invisible and grumbled worriedly. The surgery was successful, and the wheezes of the wounded animal were replaced by even breathing. "That's only half the battle," Raymond said, pulling off his surgical gloves. "She needs to be taken care of since it'll be a while before she can feed herself." "Well, I'll definitely take care of that," said Damon while stroking his gray beard. "I'll visit her regularly and feed her. I'm sure she will get better soon." The hunter winked at Tiffany meaningfully. He saw the fascination with which she watched Raymond work. No doubt Raymond made a great impression on her. Almost 2 years have passed since that day in the forest. The young surgeon and nurse, who were brought together by a shared concern, got married soon afterwards. Raymond left his job as a truck driver and decided to resume his career as a doctor in a local hospital, closer to his young wife's childhood home. Happiness had finally returned to the life of the young man. One fine summer day, the young couple decided to have a romantic dinner by a lake in the forest. Leaving the car at the foot of the forest, they walked to the lake. However, their plans to spend the evening alone were not destined to come true. A group of young men disturbed their peace. They were obviously drunk and completely lost control when they saw a beautiful young woman in a bathing suit. "Let us hang out with your girl for a bit," said one of the young men with a nasty smile. "And you can go take a little walk." Raymond and Tiffany were outnumbered. Even though the hooligans were drunk, there were 5 of them, and Raymond could not take them on alone. Of course, the man had no choice but to fight, since he could not let Tiffany be abused by them. Raymond was getting ready to punch one of the men when he suddenly heard rustling in the bushes. A large bear approached behind the group. The wild animal looked around at everyone present, stood on its hind legs, and made a terrifying noise, exposing its impressive teeth. The drunk men did not wait any longer and ran away. 3 younger-looking bears rushed after them, urging the uninvited guests to get out of the forest as fast as possible. In their saviors, Tiffany and Raymond recognized the bear family that they had once helped. It is amazing that animals understand gratitude and answer kindness with kindness, unlike some people.